Guys, it's Debbie Potts, and I've had a lot of questions online about my story and my journey with adrenal fatigue or chronic stress issues that changed my career and changed my, athletic career. But my purpose in life kind of resulted from what happened to me. And what I do today is because I want to become the practitioner, coach that was not available for me. I want to help you avoid getting to where I got to because there's a lot of red flags along my journey that I probably, if I knew what I knew, if I knew what I know now back then, I maybe would still be, I don't know, maybe I'd still be racing. I don't know. My life changed in 2013. I tried racing again, triathlons and marathons. 2015, I just gave up racing. And I still train. I train, swim, bike, run. I love endurance events, but I haven't been racing, which means to me paying for a race, entry fee, and doing my best to try to win my age group. So my purpose is to educate you and to coach you to be your best self as you age so you can continue doing what you love to do. If it is being a high performer, being athletic, it doesn't matter if you are athlete or not. It's overdoing everything. If you are a high performer, overachiever, we are on the other side of the bell curve often of what is the great amount of stress that is beneficial for us. What is good for you might change as your life changes over time, having more on your plate. And when we are females going through later in life, midlife, our hormones are lower. And so we're more susceptible to stress. Men are also at impact for doing too much. Whenever men and women, we start training for a race endurance event, it takes a lot of time out of our week away from your family, your kids, your friends. And so we need to find, if you want to continue racing, how to do it in a healthy way, how you can be fit and healthy from the inside out. And as I keep saying on my podcast, how you can improve how you age and live your best life, your second half of your life. So I have these slides I put together a while ago. I've done a podcast episode on this before, but I just want to go through what my camera's right on my head, what you might not know about me, but my purpose, my passion, my mission is really coming from this last 10 years of being in the industry as a personal trainer and as an athlete. I became a functional nutrition therapy practitioner over the years, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, which to me is more of a health investigator using functional lab testing. Before that, I became a Czech holistic lifestyle coach years ago, an ASM personal trainer, ASM, ACSM certified in college. So it's been a long time. USA triathlon coach, Keon coach, and superhuman coach program through Ben Greenfield. I've done different genetic programs as DNA Fit. And I just finished 6-month course with Precision Medicine Wild Health Program on learning about their connection of the clarity report using genetics and functional lab testing. And then I became metabolic efficiency coach with Bob Seebehor. I started doing metabolic testing in 2005 with New Leaf, and then recently purchased Pinoe metabolism kit breath analysis in, what year is it? 2023. So I've continued, I've triathlon coach on there twice. I've continued to learn more and grow. And next year, I want to do, I have 3 programs on my list next. Hormone specialist program next year, insulin IQ course. I've done Endure IQ program. I want to do their last 2 courses to get certified and work for Endure IQ, Dr. Dan Plews, as I love to work on endurance athlete space. And then also metabolic health specialist is my next certification. So I'm always trying to learn, but my triathlon career as an Ironman athlete started in 2001. Tried racing again after I got adrenal fatigue 2013, came back 2014, tried racing, got a bike crash right before the race. That was kind of a red flag. And then 2015, I tried again, and I just said, this is not meant to be. So I'm done. I wrote a book all about it. Life is not a race, it is a journey. And I will be updating that book on Amazon soon, and the Holistic Method manual to go with it, how I train people. Now, I want to identify the red flags of when you are doing too much. You might have an idea of when you feel your best, but sometimes when you're feeling like, I am amazing, I'm superhuman, I can do anything, I'm invincible. Well, we could also be having a lot of high hormones, high cortisol. And then we have this HPA axis progression I'll show you. Over time, if we don't stop, push, pause, reset, reboot more often, we continue to push ourselves over the optimal level and have this progression of low hormones, low cortisol, and we're lower than optimal. So we have this happy range of good cortisol, high in the morning, comes down when melatonin should go up at night. But we want to know when we have red flags of hyperadrenal function and then hypo, we want to avoid getting to. So paying attention to those red flags before it gets to be a big problem, it takes years to improve, is something I want to help you with. Do you have chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression? Do you have unexplained weight gain, even though you're doing all the right things right now with nutrition and your exercise program, but you're still gaining weight? Are you having this high and low blood sugar roller coaster? Maybe you don't know you do because you're not testing with the CGM, or that you might feel kind of headachy and lethargic and low energy, and then you feel wired. And then we have tired but wired. Sleeping through the night becomes an issue because often our cortisol is elevated at nighttime due to stress in our body, due to what you ate before bed, and you have high and low blood sugar, but also could be parasites are more active and you have more stressors internally causing sleep disruption. So there's lots of reasons, but those are some areas of opportunity when you want to identify what your sources of chronic stress that are hidden in your body relating to hormone dysfunction, immune dysfunction, detoxification issues of your liver, digestion issues, energy system, your neurotransmitter production. We have all these different areas that we don't know what they're coming from, but they all accumulate. External stressors and hidden sources of internal stress accumulate. So let's go into what your purpose is. How do you live life? Are you living life as a race? What is your why? What are your reasons for doing races or for pushing yourself every day? Is there something going on underneath? I gained 30 pounds without changing my nutrition. I was low carb at the time, probably, as I would say, not eating enough. Now I look back, I was very restrictive of more of a ketogenic carnivore type of diet, doing fasted exercise, not eating a lot. And that was probably low energy availability. I was probably stuck in what we call the cycle of trial and error. Try this, try that, because we listen nowadays to social media. But back then, I'd be trying to research to figure out what was wrong. But I was going to see all these different doctors. We didn't ever really, I didn't get help to figure out what is actually going on. Besides doing functional lab testing, it was really what I'll get to in this presentation of external stressors. We can identify those hidden internal stressors, but we can't really correct the problem if we don't change our way of life. Yes, you should test and not guess to find out if you are healthy from the inside out, but lab testing and taking a supplement for this or that is just a band-aid. So I focus on resolving metabolic chaos with clients, but often we just need to work on what's your why, what's your drive, and let's work on how you're approaching life every day. So My struggles were that fatigue, gaining weight without doing anything. I was off of my best athletic career and gained 30 pounds. I was switching my workouts in the afternoon for naps. I could not sleep at night. I was depressed, partially probably I wasn't doing what I love to do. And I was just frustrated. So I was anxious and emotional and depressed and probably getting everyone sick of me because I'd be complaining all day, just going, why me? Why is this happening? So the struggle is real. I want you to learn from my burnout my body systems, probably at a cellular level, mitochondria, never did the testing back then that we could do now. And breaking down my body systems, my immune system. I had parasites, I had digestive issues, I had probably low hormones with my chaos, metabolic chaos. So I don't want you to go there. How do you avoid going that? Well, we all have stories, and figuring out what is your reason for pushing yourself too much. That is often why I like to work with people. What is really going on? What do we love about your sport if you're training for a race? Why do we tend to overdo everything? Less is more. So my book and my podcast, I changed the name to Coach Debbie Potts because I was tired of being associated with no carbs. I meant carb timing, eat real food, nutrient density, meat-based, get your protein in. You can be vegan, vegetarian, but it's a little more complicated how not to get too many anti-nutrients and not enough good vitamins as your B vitamins and L-carnitine, zinc, and all the stuff you get from meat. So we have to be a little bit more careful on figuring out your nutrition plan. But I really feel that it's important to look at what I call the holistic method, working on the whole you. Nutrition and exercise is part of it, but we really need to optimize sleep. If you don't get a good night's sleep, your exercise workout program is a problem. At least for me, it is. Nutrition might be more of an issue. Your happiness and play, laughter isn't as vibrant because you're tired. You're not having good digestion, movement, mobility, stress. So we need to look at what's really going on. And we want to look at the chronic stress. We feel this optimal amount. But too little stress isn't good either, but too much. So the Goldilocks effect for everything, I say, is that right dose? What is that bell curve when we have enough and then we have too much that we're causing this adrenal exhaustion, or hypothalamus, pituitary gland, two adrenal glands are getting overworked and the feedback loop starts to get tired and we're just feeling tired and depressed and no energy. We want to figure out where you are. So from my journey, I want you to learn from my errors. More is not better. Too much of anything is toxic. Too little of anything can lead to deficiencies. What are your genetic profiles? Tolerance to stress, your liver, detox pathways, all this stuff. We can look at genetic reports as Wild Health Clarity Report. Let's talk about metabolic chaos, what that means, how there's a whole domino effect in our body when we have chronic stress. Chronic anything does not lead to a positive ending. Chronic fatigue is often probably from HPA axis dysfunction, your mitochondria dysfunction, the gut-brain connection. So we want to investigate, figure out what's going on for you. But I did see many doctors. This is why I became the practitioner that I was looking for 10 years ago. The doctor says I'm normal. Everything was fine. I just need an antidepressant. I just need to realize I'm getting older. Someone told me once, and I was just 42 years old. I wanted to thrive and get back to racing and get my body back where I felt comfortable and strong. But I was told to just take these medications. That was not the answer for me. So metabolic chaos, we say, Reed Davis, the founder of Metabolic Chaos, or FDN practitioner program, Reed Davis created the term metabolic chaos. Symptoms may be far removed from the causal factors or stressors found upstream. So even though you have SIBO or a parasite or low hormones. We need to look at, why is this happening? Let's look at the root cause. And there's always more than one, and you don't know what came first. Like, if I have a parasite, was it from mold toxicity, or is it because of swimming in bad water in a triathlon, or combination of that with my genetics? I'm more susceptible, or stress is on, my immune system's down. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things that could go wrong that we just don't know unless we investigate. What I did in the past, here's what I see a lot of people do. Back then, I wake up at 3:45 in the morning. I owned a fitness studio, so I had a lot of stress in my job. I was surviving on bulletproof fat coffee, butter, MCT oil, big huge thing of coffee, make 2 big mugs of it and take it to work. 3:45 wake up time. I was at my fitness studio like 4:30 in the morning to check emails. I was training clients, and I'd go for my workout, and then I'd have more clients, so I do have to do admin work. And then I'd work till 7 o'clock sometimes, or else I'd go to yoga class, and I'd end up working till 7, yoga or work with classes, and get home at 7:30, go to bed at 9. Total burning myself out. So this is why I feel that it's not because I was racing so many triathlons and marathons and 50K trail runs that I got adrenal fatigue. My life was burning the candle at both ends of the day. I wasn't eating enough. I was waking up too early and going to bed too late for this schedule. I was exercising a lot, but I was constantly on fire running from that line all day long. I was stressed out, even though I didn't feel like I was, right? I was feeling invincible, that I was superhuman. So I would nutritionally was doing low carb, drinking fat coffee drink. I would eat a little something before a workout, and then I would not really eat. Over the years, I got into OMAD. So I was moving around and active, but oops, but I was working on uh, body fat burning, I thought, but also not getting enough calories in. So there's a lot to being healthy from, right? We want to thrive. We want to burn fat in our body, but we still want to be metabolically healthy and metabolically flexible. This is a seminar I did. What I used to do before I moved, this is not the current me. This was the second version of myself before COVID. I really didn't switch my schedule that round, that much. I switched to this schedule I thought was different, right? So this is me pre-COVID, after adrenal fatigue. So say between, I don't know, 2018, 2020. And this is what you can read this, go, okay, she really didn't make that many changes. She thought she was being a healthier person, but now it's intermittent fasting, 16/8 or more. I was black coffee, water until breakfast. I mean, this is not good either. So that is the second version of me. I wasn't going to yoga or classes at nighttime. I was exercise training, but I wasn't racing. I mean, really, I just switched things around. Now I moved 2020, we moved to North San Diego. My life is working in this glass house and coaching people from all over the world on computer, and working in person in Solana Beach, Del Mar, doing metabolism testing and trying to get personal training and coaching built up here, as I'm new-ish to the town. People don't really know me as they did in Seattle. So I have to rebrand myself as a metabolic health coach, but really helping people with what we call, again, let's go over metabolic chaos. The definition of metabolic chaos as an FDN practitioner, we talk about it as a state of health that exists because of the complexities in one's metabolism and estimated influences from the environment. So the correlation between symptoms and cause is unpredictable. One clue of metabolic chaos is when intervention based on traditionally reliable cluster of symptoms produces only a marginal therapeutic response. Metabolic chaos is responsible for the symptoms that would otherwise be ascribed to other causes. Contributors to metabolic chaos can be inborn, but they also can be coming from hidden stressors in the world today. So, as a trained certified FDN practitioner, I'm a health detective that we use functional lab testing to uncover metabolic chaos that is occurring within our clients. Instead of depending on trial and error, we investigate and collect clues to help solve these mysteries. So, if you understand that we have to collect clues and help you be your best self, we have cortisol levels that might be higher or lower than optimal that can result in decreased serotonin, suppress the immune system, increase your blood sugar, your memory and attention span may be off. You might have higher, lower blood pressure, decreased sensitivity to pain. So it depends if it's above or below our optimal levels, that Goldilocks effect. So we have this chronic stress related dysfunction, hidden stress and imbalances that are not addressed will cascade into other areas if not soon resolved. That's why I want you to get ahead of this problem instead of waiting until you're really struggling. But it's hard for people to understand when to get help and invest in their health because they don't really think anything's wrong with them, but they're kind of gradually on transition, progressing that direction. So metabolic chaos results causing serious dysfunction leading to dis-ease and symptoms. The stress cascade, metabolic individuality, these symptoms will show up differently. As myself, I always wondered, why did I have problems? And my friend, for example, Diana Hassel, is still racing and winning her age group at 70.3 races now. And Ironman, she's, I think, still doing full Ironmans and would always place on the podium in Ironman Hawaii World Championship. And now she's 70.3 world champion all the time. Why me? That's why we need to address genetics and look at your way of life and how we breathe and pause throughout the day. And so we need to stop, push, pause, and reset. We want to look upstream for dis-ease and dysfunction and find out what is going on. How, again, mindset. Mind's sympathetic overdrive all day long. And we want to coach up the body's natural reserves to bring us back to homeostasis, to balance. So Reed teaches us that symptoms are not the problem. They're a result of the problem. And that's huge for you to understand. Because I have this problem or that problem, if I just treat that, we don't figure out why. Even someone I know, a totally different example, plantar fasciitis. If we keep just treating the foot pain and not addressing what is off mechanically, work your way up north to why that person is running and they continue to get injured and have plantar heel problems, foot problems. We need to look at the why, right? So same with your body. What's off balance? What's not working together as the body works as an orchestra to thrive and to work at optimal level, inside and out. We need to address, are you running from a lion all day long? In order to heal and rebuild, I had to change my ways, which when I did this presentation, I realized, I was watching this, I didn't really change until 4 years ago. Thanks to COVID, the pandemic led me to moving with my husband, Neil, to North San Diego, where my life is drastically different. Now, if you look at this, I notice I have the Adobe logo on here. The parasympathetic nerves versus sympathetic nerves. What happens when parasympathetic and sympathetic? One thing that stands out is looking at your gallbladder function, because I keep having, every client right now has gallbladder bile issues. If we are in sympathetic, stimulate release of glucose inhibits gallbladder, inhibit activity of stomach. Parasympathetic, stimulate activity, inhibit release of glucose, and stimulates gallbladder, stimulates activity of the intestines. So why we need to be in digestive, rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system state of mind, body, connection when we're eating, not this fight or flight, freeze. So we have this chronic stress cascade. I think of it as a leaky faucet. Just turning that stress on, turning it off is a good acute stress. But when we have any distress that contributes to loss of homeostasis, dysfunction, dis-ease, eventually that continues, that leaky faucet results in metabolic chaos. But what I'm trying to get across to you, if this is left untreated, you keep pushing, 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 more symptoms appear downstream. If you wait until you're just not feeling great, you're feeling awful, you're just tired and you're exhausted, you're gaining weight, you just can't do anything you love to do anymore, so now you're depressed, you're just waiting till you have this metabolic chaos. If we only treat the symptoms, as people do, they take a thyroid medication, they take a digestion pill, they take something for SIBO, or they're just taking anti-inflammatories because they keep getting injured. We're not looking at why are these things happening? Why do you continue to have these random, so you think they're random, but they're mostly probably all related to extreme something off, HPA axis dysfunction. Symptoms may be far removed from the stressors found upstream, remember. Every stress response is a blood sugar response. I love my clients to get a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM. You could be eating all the right foods, but if you're running from a lion, you have to have that glucose on board. So your body, when it feels under threat to respond to emergency, to run as fast as you can to save yourself, your body will release glucose from the liver. Cortisol levels go up, glucose goes up, and you're ready to respond. So notice when you wear a CGM, your glucose monitor, when you scan your device, if you hadn't eaten anything, your glucose went up. Like middle of the night, you'll see it go up. We have to look at why, what's causing that increase. We want to look at what type of foods are good for you. Look at your metabolic type, look at your genetics, look at food sensitivities, look at the wheat zoomer. Increased cortisol levels from chronic stress raises your blood sugar to respond to that emergency. So we want to test instead of guess what your internal and external stressors are that are becoming chronic. So we have good stress. Or do we have bad stress? It's not bad or good. It's not good or bad cholesterol. It's the right dose. Hormetic stressors, hormesis. Things that are bad in high amounts can be good in low amounts. Hormesis is a biological phenomenon whereby a beneficial effect, improved health, stress tolerance, growth, or longevity can result from exposure at low doses of an agent that is otherwise toxic or lethal when giving at high doses. So we want to think, as I call it, the Goldilocks effect. Less is more. Not too much, not too little, just the right amount. But for you, that amount is going to be different for everybody. Find the right dose for you. Calorie restriction and restricted feeding. What is the right amount for you? Cold temperature. When we're doing cold plunge, women are different than men too. So we want to look at individuality and then differences between genders. Heat shock in the sauna. Radiation, germs, physical stress. Those are all stressors that are good in acute amount. But if we did sauna, heat stress all day long, or if you did cold plunges for too much every day, if you had radiation x-ray every day, obviously you're going to have problems, too much stress. So we need to take ownership. As I moved in 2020, changed my life, I closed my fitness forward studio in Bellevue, Washington, after 10 years of chronic stress, being a fitness owner or a brick and mortar owner. I moved in summer of 2020. I realized the last few years I had to take ownership of my health. It's like your own unique operating system, your computer. You need to push alternate control delete, reboot your computer, reboot yourself. We should be doing quarterly checkups with functional lab testing, blood chemistry panel every 3 to 4 months. Every 6 months, do a stool test, do a Dutch hormone panel. If you need more, there's mycotoxin tests that really need to be done, or hair tissue mineral analysis called HTMA. We can look at metabolic typing diet, mtdiet.com, or the Vibrant Wellness food zoomers. Look at food sensitivities. Should you be fasting or not? 12-hour fast should be a normal thing. It's not really intermittent fasting. It's just time restricted eating, time restricted feeding that you have digest rest from, say, 12 hours overnight is going to bed, stop eating 3 hours before bed, and eat in the morning when you start to get hungry, timing it in and around your workouts. Infrared therapy, cold plunges, red light therapy, daylight morning sunshine, minimize your EMF. So all sorts of things we want to find the right amount of acute stress and investigate from the inside out, working with a health detective. So we're getting the functional lab testings to know what's going on under the hood. And some people rather not know. I know a lot of people push themselves, but I think inside they're scared to know what's going on. Do functional lab testing, rather be naive and I don't know what I don't know. So I don't have to take responsibility for what's going on under the hood if I don't know. It's not my problem. But it is your body. We want to optimize our health the second half of our life. So we're thriving as we get older, not waiting again until we have problems to get help. So let's be health optimizers and take ownership of our health now before it gets worse. So how can you take ownership of your health and put the oxygen mask on first? Repair, rebuild, restore the whole you. Looking at that right amount, the Goldilocks effect. This is me back in the day when I was racing, a lava man, and looking at Hanu Half Ironman, 70.3 worlds. I was doing 50K trail running races. I'm trying to be that practitioner for those that are health optimizers. I work on investigating what is going on outside and using functional lab tests to investigate what's going on under the hood, collecting clues to help put the missing pieces of your health puzzle together. While we're waiting for the functional lab test, we're working on the DRESS protocol work, which is an FDN practitioner work, same as my holistic method, work on nutrition, your sleep, your exercise, your stress management, and supplementation where we're needing a little support. We want to work on identifying your stressors in your life and work on coaching and navigating through your typical day, typical week, and month, and figure out how you can manage what you can manage. How can we approach things a little differently? Testing the nervous system, the hormones, detox, digestion, energy. We want to find these internal sources of chronic stress that are going to accumulate with those external stressors to create metabolic chaos. So we have these external stressors, distractions, always being on social media. We're working on being always on and having to fear of FOMO. Your fear of missing out is FOMO. And you're working on neuroplasticity. I'm really scared for the future of these kids today that are growing up with just being online, the phone all the time, and Apple Watches and all these distractions. So neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to change continuously throughout an individual's life. Brain activity associated with the function transfer to different location. Gray matter can change and synapses may strengthen or weaken over time. So it's pretty scary that our brain can be altered or plastic, even though we think we're not doing anything, but through adulthood, developing the brain exhibits higher degree of plasticity than the adult brain. So these kids today, watch out. See if you can set some boundaries with their phones. And we have chronic stress, just living life each day, financial stress. There's alcohol, smoking, work commitments, family, just so many distractions. We need to learn how to deal with them. So we need to find that why am I feeling fatigued? What is off in my body? Genetics? Is my hormones, my gut microbiome's off? Mitochondria is where your energy is created. So I'm more and more realizing, is it just a sign of our health of mitochondria that's creating our energy? And where should we start? What should we work on first? Depends. So I work with collecting data, coaching along the way, taking action, and figure out how to get results that you're looking for. So we want to look at chasing symptoms versus results. We don't want to treat, this is what a lot of practitioners do, and naturopaths I find that I work with. I said 8 different doctors and naturopath, functional medicine people. We often get functional lab testing and treat the lab results. I see this all the time with people coming to me for help, is that their doctor practitioner is still treating the lab results. And we're not looking at why do we see this sudden change in their lipid panel? Why is the thyroid low? Why do they have elevated marker as, say, ApoB suddenly, but it wasn't there 3 months ago? Let's investigate the why for that individual, and it's going to be different for everyone. So we collect clues of your hidden internal stressors with the labs. Instead of guessing, we're not just treating those markers that they're low or higher. We need to look at the whole picture and investigate. We want to look at your lifestyle habits, how your sleep routine is. There's a lot to it. So that's why I do 6-month-long packages. Assess underlying conditions first, contributors to your metabolic chaos, investigating with the labs. We work on your nutrition, your sleep, your exercise, stress management, and supplementation is a Dress for Health Success program. I use the holistic method approach. Then we run the program and course correct along the 6 months or longer. Some people just keep going. We work together to correct the course of action to make you feel better so you thrive. And sometimes we have to try things out and adjust and get the feedback from your body. We figure out what's going on together and we help fix it. And that's what we do as FDN practitioners. So step 1 is investigate. What is the source of, say, chronic inflammation? Let's assess where you are. You might, again, remember, you might not have any of these symptoms, but we want to see anything that's trending to dysfunction and get ahead of it. So we want to understand that the test results are not the problem. Remember that the test results give us insights to hidden stressors and malfunctions underlying most chronic health complaints. We want to identify your areas of opportunity that need improvement, and this will help reveal a pathway to restore order so that your health returns. And then we work on the holistic method or the Dress for Health Success program, as I said, and we want to work on our lifestyle choices, how we deal with life each day. Are we in sympathetic dominance, measuring heart rate variability, making time for ourselves, pushing pause before we eat, and breathing and slowing down? Stop, pause, reset, reboot, recalibrate, journal, do things that make you laugh, right? So we want to look at, am I doing 10 things at once? Can I just focus? What can I do to move more throughout the day? There's so much. And this is where we need individual coaching. We want to identify what roadblocks, how you're eating, but going back to here, what, if you're struggling with body weight, there's so many issues that could be part of that. Low stomach acid, not digesting your food properly, eating in sympathetic dominance, having just cortisol levels be out of whack, and really looking at movement throughout the day. So there's a lot to eating, what, how, when, and why, as well as where. There's also knowing when to disconnect and unplug, where you need to slow down, focus, and connect and enjoy the time with people. We need to look at your bio-individuality, looking at your metabolic type, looking at your genetics. Let's look at your microbiome, your food sensitivities. That is a big part of the FDN way. Now, macronutrients, I'm really big on protein and finding that right amount for you, but how do you digest foods? Do you digest enzymes or apple cider vinegar in water, some lemon? What do we need to do? Do you have signs and symptoms of slow digestion, bile flow. We need to support making bile. I think a lot of people I'm finding have gallbladder, liver issues. So it's more, they don't have the ingredients needed. So we need to work on each person. So again, the Goldilocks effect. What is the good amount for all these habits for you? Stress is not good or bad. So remember, it's just a small dose. Our body adapts to exposure to stress as the cold stress, heat stress, lifting weights in the gym stress, sprint interval training. That's why Stacy Sims for women says, as you're going post menopause, we need just that small dose of stress that's not going to add to our excessive stressful lifestyle already. So doing the 10 to 30-second all out sprints are just that acute stress. Recover 2 to 3 minutes. Go hard again. But what a lot of females are doing when they're already stressed out, men too, doing too long of interval. They're doing 10 minutes or 30 minutes when they're only should do 30 seconds of that stress. So we need to look at your workout schedule. I always find, as I said, mitochondria super fascinating to look at chronic stress, mitochondria dysfunction, and that what's it called? The cell danger theory is really interesting to go into. So it's finding that right balance for everything. And that's going to be dependent on you. Doing nothing is better than being busy doing nothing. So figure out what works best for you to be your best self as you age. If you want to know more, set up a discovery call with me. Again, I don't do 3 months programming anymore. I switched it to 6 months because it takes time. It's not a 3-month process. We order the labs, we work in all these different nutrition, your exercise, your sleep, your stress. So it's a process. So I found 3 months is not even enough. I really wish everyone did a year long because 6 months isn't enough. But that is where we start. So life is not a race, it's a journey. I call it the holistic method. Where we're working on the whole you transformation program from the inside out, comprehensive health detective program. This is my passion, my purpose, and my mission to help you to create impact. So if you want to work on one thing today, 2 things. What are 2 habits? 2 things you can do to increase your energy, to improve your health, ability to burn fat, whatever you might be. What are things that you could think about changing today? What could you implement in your life today? Let me know and reach out, debbiepotts.net, and we can talk a little bit more. So I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. Let me know your thoughts if you are struggling with chronic fatigue, unexplained weight gain, depression, anxiety issues. It might just be needing a little reset, reboot, and invest in your health. Thanks for listening.